First vav nifal. Okay, now we turn to the forms where we will actually see the vav. Remember I said for the kal, you don't see the vav anywhere in any of the forms. You see some changes. You see the tsere tsere, the E type, and you see the shortened imperative and the shortened infinitive construct like you do with the first nun. But you don't actually see the vav. The vav does not show up. Here we start to see the vav. So here we see it. No shav. You see the vav there? No shava. And here in the imperfect, yivashev. You see the vav? You see the vav. It's everywhere. Okay? So finally we get to see the vav. This is why these things are called first vavs. Even though you look this up as yashav, because that's the kal, perfect 3ms, in the nifal you see no shav. You see that it was originally a true first vav. It was originally a vav there in the first position. So the vav is retained, the original vav is retained in all forms in the nifal. Now, in the nifal, the strong nifal, the very first nifals we looked at, we noted that we could divide up the nifals into two groups. They fell into two sets. The first set consisted of perfect and participle, and that was because the nifal nun was visible in those forms, remember? And then the nifal nun disappeared in the prefix forms because, again, you had a prefix, and it grabbed that nifal nun and made it the end of a syllable, which then smashed it up against the next consonant, and so it assimilated and it disappeared, and you saw it as a dagesh. Again here, in the first vav nifals, we see that we can divide up into the same sets. How do we get this here? No shav. Where does that come from? Well, our verb is yashav, or at least that's what we'd look at in the dictionary, okay, yashav. But we know it's really first vav, so let's put our vav on there. Oops. That yud wanted to get in there. So instead of yashav, we have this vav instead. We put our nun on there, our nifal nun. And what happens here is that, put our dots on our sheen, this vav becomes a vowel. See that? It's no shav. We have our patach there. Just like, well, it's what in the strong? Nifkad. Okay. This is our strong, perfect, 3ms nifal, nifkad, so that's why we have patach and patach, so that's all the same. The only difference between the strong and the first vav nifal in the perfect is that the first root letter has now become a vowel. Pei didn't become a vowel, but the vav becomes a vowel. And I guess the other difference is you don't have a hidik there because you have a vowel. And vav does that because vav is one of these letters that can kind of float between consonant and vowel. Sometimes it's a consonant, sometimes it's a vowel. Here it's functioning as a vowel, a mater, right? So that's what this is. No shav, no shava, no shavta. These are all, the O here, the O sound is the holom vav. This is a vowel. Compare it to this one. I should probably do this on a different screen. Let's see. We have yashav, so let's put a vav in there because we know we're dealing with a true first, or what we're actually dealing with is first vav. So there we go. Let's put our nun on, our nefal nun, just like we did there. But this is a prefix form, so let's put a yud on there. Now what's going to happen? Well, the yud is going to do this, right? Yin, it's going to steal this guy. And so now this one is going to be smack dab up against this, and so it's going to assimilate. And so this will disappear, and it'll become a dot here. And our theme vowel, well, the rest of the syllables, or the vowels, become these, just like they do in the strong verb. So what you end up with here is a vav with an with a dagesh forte, which is there because it's the nifal nun that has assimilated to the vav. You actually have two vavs. So here, this is a consonant. Yivashev, this is a vowel, no shav. Okay? That's the big difference. These ones here have the vav as a consonant. and the perfect and the passive participle have the vav as a vowel. So perfect and participle, the red ones, have the vav as a vowel, and the prefix forms have the vav as a consonant. Here I'm comparing the strong with the first vav, nifal, and this is the perfect. So nifkad becomes noshav. Nifkada becomes noshava. Nifkadta, noshavta. Okay, you see that the only difference between these two is that the pei here, or the first root, the first vav, becomes a vowel. So it is, the first vav is like the strong verb except the vav becomes a vowel. In the imperfect, which is what we have here, yipaked, yivashev. Same thing. I mean, different letters, obviously, because of a different verb, but the same form. Yipaked, yivashev. Tipaked, tivashev. Vav here is functioning as a consonant. There's nothing weak about it in how it behaves here. All the vowels are the same. We have a. We have our hidik, dagash, and our kamets, hidik, dagash, kamets. So this really is behaving just like the strong verb. First vav, nifal, behaves exactly like the strong verb, and the vav is a consonant, which is why it's behaving exactly like a strong verb. So, in the imperfect, where are we here? In these forms here, all these forms, not just the imperfect, but these other forms here as well, first vav is behaving just like the strong verb. The only exception, I guess, here, these, well, maybe there's some little exceptions. These are reduced, okay? Vayivashev, as opposed to yivashev. So accent shift and reduction, and we have it here with the adjussive as well, yivashev rather than yivashev. And then, let me just check my table here. It's always good to have your strong verb tables in front of you. They're the base. So if we check down here, infinitive absolute, nifal, hippakod, hivashov. Okay, even this is regular. Now there are two. There's also one with a nun in the strong verbs, but this is possible with the strong verbs as well. So all the way through here, these vavs here are all strong. We're all behaving like a strong character. They're not weak. So it's not really too difficult to recognize the first vavs in the prefix forms, as long as you remember that in fact it's a vav you're looking for, not a yud. And over here in the perfect and the participle, you at least see the vav. And it sounds a little different because it's turned into a vowel, but other than that, it's the same all the way through, same as the strong verbs.